podcast is rated TV PG for fantasy violence and language. Welcome back to Star Wars Birth of the Republic tabletop role-playing game, Episode 24. I'm Kirk, and I will be your storyteller.
I am Andrew. I play Hakru, the Zabrak Scout.
I'm Eric. I'm playing Lashara, the Bothan Noble.
I'm Greg. I'm playing Dodd, the Human Scoundrel.
Yeah, I'm Seth, playing Jad Markeda, the Rhodian Scoundrel.
This is Mary, and I will be playing Ruurah, the Togorian Scout.
Welcome back to another episode of Gaming Without Gaming's Star Wars Birth of the Republic. Last time we decided to follow Ruurah's map, and the crew discovered a hideout in an asteroid field covered with Minox, and were able to find the entrance to this lair, landed, and it's been abandoned for months, probably linking up to the time when Ruurah and Jad met in space through their prequel, or their prequel. So, investigated the asteroid, found out that the power supply for the base was about 3 times bigger than it should be, and that there were actually like cords around this asteroid that fed the Minox, so it kept them around as more of a defensive shield. Also, there were several parts for starships that were just sort of sitting in like a workshop area. I think there were like 3 upgrades that you could do to any ship. There were a trove of memorabilia for Ruurah and her family. And I think even a picture of that her aunt's husband or mate had taken of Ruurah and had it framed and sitting by in like a collage that he had up on his wall. Also, what else do we find in her trove of stuff? I can't remember if there's anything. Lots of pictures. I do remember that.
Yeah. I think there was a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was holding on to that for a while before putting it back in the box.
Yeah. Also, the place had a medical bay with a Bacta tank that seemed like it had enough Bacta in the area for one full fill-up. And I thought someone was trying to siphon it off or take it away by the gallon. And maybe we got a couple gallons onto the ship. What else? We found a block of steel that may be a casket or a case that contained something and had a symbol on the front that was sort of sunk in, and it needs some sort of medallion or something that would sit in that, probably to open it up. But the whole thing is seamless. There were several communication nodes back to Goria, to each family member, so that they could contact their loved ones from the base and not have it intercepted or anything. It was all encoded. And you guys decided that instead of radioing back that there were no survivors from either ship, that you would go there and actually talk to everybody, I believe. And And there were also 2 gonk droids that we discovered that are virtually mindless. They're just walking batteries with no personality and no social skills or anything like that. No thought process beyond powering things up and that sort of thing. I think that's it. You guys took off. The way the base was made, you enter one way and then you left the other way, but when you left, it was like a light blind where you had to sort of dip in and out and then fly out, and it was virtually impossible to see the entrances. So, and I think that's where we're at. We're in hyperspace right now. It was just a couple days flight. Was there anything you guys want to do in the meantime?
Lash is just going to check up on how the business stuff is doing back on Bathwai.
It's only been, I think it was a day to get to the base. It was really close.
Okay. I guess she'll just monitor for transmissions from home to see if anybody has any issues or anything like that. I mean, they're probably pretty savvy business people, so she don't have to get too involved, but she just kind of wants to keep current.
Right. And you guys gave a lot of money to help them get back on their feet, correct? It was a couple million.
Lots, yeah.
So it looks like things are moving, but they're not moving very fast. It's like they're putting out all the acquisitions and signing paperwork still. I imagine that doesn't move too fast when you take over a corporation and have to send out notification that you're taking over and show up and then make speeches and all that good stuff. So,
yeah.
I think that was your master comes along once in a while and wants to train. Just little stuff. I don't think there's anything really going on with Leto. Was there anything Hakru was doing in the meantime? Any training, or I think you were...
So per the agreement, he would still be maintaining his normal training sessions with the master. He'd be very much following his own routine. He doesn't really have anything on his plate that he's interested in doing. He's just kind of going along with everybody else.
Were you training HKM8 to be a little more sociable?
I wasn't.
We gave him a name.
HK8. He calls Dodd boss man now.
Yeah, which is cool. I like it.
So I'd imagine that Dodd would be teaching him to be more sociable.
Yeah.
I hang out with Leto and F7, and HK can come around all he wants. But currently, as far as I know, there's not really or any real established dynamic between HK and the crew.
You were trying to get him to talk him into accepting a personality chip, wasn't?
Yes.
Isn't that where we were with him?
We already did that.
And he's now taken on the personality of a 1920s gangster, sort of.
Right. So I figured that would kind of lead into Hakru. Now that he has a personality, Hakru has more interest.
Yeah. Okay. Nothing was going on. I can't think of anything else that was going on. Everything on the ship seemed like it was resolved for the most part. So nothing else you guys want to do. We'll just yada yada a couple days, and you guys come out of hyperspace, and there is Tagoria ahead. Takes a little bit of clearance checks, and Ruurah would probably have to be on the bridge.
Yeah, I figured I'd be up there. It's not a
They're
big...
kind of xenophobic.
Yes, so now I would both, once we got into real space around the planet, I would both send a message to my aunt that I'm, gonna be coming by, and then talk to, the
Tower, I guess, something like that.
Yes, Space Authority. I don't know.
Yeah,
Port
Authority.
Port Authority. There you go.
They're a little standoffish at first, but once they get a visual of who they're talking with, they seem to relax a little bit. And they ask what your business on planet is.
Just coming home for a visit.
Okay. Do you let them know you have you're going to be bringing outsiders with you, or?
Oh well, yeah, yeah.
So it's not a surprise.
No, I do not leave that. I don't want to. I don't want to spring that on anyone.
Yeah.
I've
So,
got.
surprise,
two dogs.
cat people.
Yeah, two
You
dogs
brought
come
two
running
dogs. Yeah.
out. Okay. They seem a little official when you tell them that, and they ask kind of who you're going to be released into the custody of, and that I guess that would be your aunt.
Right, which
and
is
so
part of
she
why I
would be
wanted to send her a message to make sure that she knew I was coming and that if I needed help getting through.
Okay. All right, and they tell you which landing pad. Are there a lot of cities on Tagoria at this time?
There aren't a lot of cities. No,
Okay.
a lot of it's because the women live in cities and the men live out on the plains,
Right.
but it's all rural hunter-gatherer for them. So
Okay.
there aren't a lot of cities.
Okay. So the spaceport's probably called whatever your town dwelling is, city or.
I may have called it Garden City. It's been a long time since I read the backstory.
Familiar. It sounds familiar. So they clear you for it, and the Ripper takes off through the atmosphere. It's a beautiful planet. I think it's like savannas and small forests and stuff. You eventually get to this the small city state. And it's not walled off, but it is sort of fenced off. But it's not. It's like Jurassic Park fencing. I guess it would be to keep, to let people know where the boundaries are, and not to let big. Are there big? I can't remember Tagoria.
There are. I think there are big predators. There are definitely giant flying lizard monsters because they ride them. That's what a Mossgoth is the big flying.
Right.
Not pterodactyls, but
Yes, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys kind of float inside this boundary area, and there's like 3 landing pads, I guess, and they're off by themselves. They don't seem like they're used a whole lot, or there's no ships like really sitting and waiting to go. You guys pull up and land, and it's kind of desolate. It looks like a few people are sort of coming from this central hub that looks like an Adobe-style hut house. And there is a figure with them that is dressed in like black lace or black like bunting. And she's sort of leading these armed Tagorians. The ship lands gently, and the landing dock goes down. Who all's taken off on the planet? Everybody?
you're all welcome to come with. Although I will stay in front.
Okay.
There is no way you are getting me off this ship on this planet full of cat people. I don't even want to smell unfiltered air.
That actually probably makes all of our lives easier.
Yep. It's time to catch up on my space games and learning more Jedi moves in my room.
Okay. Nanat says he would like to go. Which everyone kind of goes, okay.
I mean,
No, that's fine. I'll take care of the ship. I should know enough about the ship to keep it out of danger.
I make sure my comm link is fully charged.
Okay.
yeah.
Leto isn't sure if he wants to go or not. He's not certain what use he would have. So maybe
I do whisper over to Dodd to at least leave one of the speeder bikes here in case of emergency, and I need to,
Good plan. I like it.
okay.
Leto, it might be best if you stay here for now. I can take F7 with me, and if we find something we think of interest for you, we can always write to you, and you let you know, and then we can meet up with you. How does that sound?
That sounds okay. I'll just sit here and keep the young lady company.
He sounds so lonely.
Already? We haven't even left yet.
You will be coming back now, won't you?
Of course, Leto. We'd never leave without you. You just seem to be more comfortable here, is all.
My impression was good enough that he bought it. Awesome.
All right, you guys exit the ship, and outside is 2 armed guards in like tactical gear. and there is a tall woman standing in the middle, and she's again draped in this gossamer sort of black covering that's flowing in the night breeze.
I walk up to beside Ruurah and I kind of on the slide say, they gonna have an issue with my blaster hanging from my hip right now, or Hakur's sniper rifle that's on his back.
Hakur would not be bringing weapons outside of a blaster pistol.
Okay.
And Ruurah look over and go, I actually, believe it or not, I've never tried to bring outsiders home, so I have no idea.
Well, I'll try to use some social skills to figure this out.
Okay. So yeah, what weapons do you guys have on you?
So, Hakur, whenever he goes, if he's not expecting a fight, the only thing he does is he keeps a blaster pistol on him hidden, and that's it.
Okay.
We've got the concealed holster.
Okay.
You know,
Dodd, what are you doing?
I'm going gunslinger with the heavy blaster pistol.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Similar. I'm looking like I'm right out of the Wild West.
Okay.
Ruurah, I think, left hers on the ship. She's not carrying anything.
Okay.
That's good because if they take
She's
yours,
just
they
got
won't
the
give it
box.
back.
Yeah, she's just got the box.
Okay.
Hakur would also have the vibro dagger. And a Wellbar, he's not proficient in it, so he takes the -5 whenever he uses it. That's also hidden in his boot. So it's boot dagger, hidden blaster pistol. That is his default unless somebody says we're killing something.
That movie was so good. Boot dagger, hidden blaster. Yeah.
It was a stretch, but it was funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nanat does not bring a weapon.
They're not smarter than Jad and Dodd. Yeah.
All right. Ruurah, upon exiting, you realize it's what's her name? Mira.
Mira.
Yep. It's Mira standing there in front of you.
I remember things.
She is a shock white looking lioness of a woman.
I think so.
I'm looking at her picture.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and Ruurah doesn't really. She pauses at the bottom of the ramp to have this quick conversation with Jad, or Dodd. Sorry, but
both of us are there.
I know, but you were the one who asked the question. So,
Yeah.
but and then she doesn't. She just starts stepping forward.
She puts her arms out, and it's draped in this funeral bunting that she's wearing.
Yeah.
And
Funeral bunting probably doesn't mean the same thing. Okay.
usually fabric that is sort of gathered is called bunting in general.
Yeah, when it's bunched up in a certain way, it's bunting.
No, I was referencing the funeral part. Like, oh, I didn't know we were going to a funeral. Are we going to a funeral? Is that what we're planning here?
You're going to tell this entire planet's, well, this is probably this entire city's worth of females that all of their husbands and brothers have died. So there might be a funeral aspect to this.
Funerary? Gotcha.
I hate that word. It's a word.
Funerary?
So who needs to go get his good vest?
I used to like my use of obfuscation to show that I wasn't paying close enough attention.
She looks like she's been crying.
What she said. Hey, you all got any money?
So she hugs Ruurah, and it's a long hug, and she's kind of doing that, trying not to cry, jerking. And then she pulls her back and says, "It's so good to see you."
I'm sorry I've been gone for so long.
I'm just glad you're back.
Well, and I'm glad to be back, and I'm sorry to. I mean, I'm sorry to have to bring the news that I bring, but at least somebody can bring it to you.
At this point, it feels like a blessing to know one way or the other. We haven't known for so long. Months?
And that's why I had to come back.
Let's go talk in the house and bring your companions with you.
She just kind of like does this over her shoulder.
Yeah, and literally the guards turn as you guys walk in between them, and they follow you out to make sure you're not bolting for the hills.
I look at Jad. Hey, Jad. They haven't taken our guns. This is a good sign.
It is a good sign. This is one of my favorites. I would have been real upset if they stole it.
Me too.
You're surrounded by giant cat people who are like 4 feet taller than you are.
With like ears this big that could hear us from across a football field. And him and I foolishly are thinking we're talking, kind of sub rosa.
Yeah, and there's a visual cut to Jad's like bunk that's covered in like blaster rifles from all the past incidents where he's taking like each person's gun. All right, you guys walk out to the outside area. It's like a small wall, and there's a small like hover skiff, I guess. It's kind of just a flat platform with very thin sort of railing on it. Looks almost too delicate to be sturdy, but when you get on, the railing is very secure. Everyone gets on, and the thing lifts off about a foot and a half, and it slowly starts moving into this small like city town. It's not exactly like the town on Doghi that you guys were used to. It's bigger than that. It's like the neighboring town that you guys had to go to get stuff.
Gotcha.
Takes a couple minutes, and you get to Mira's residence. And it's a good sized residence. It looks like was purchased or passed down through family lineage, so it's got lots of rooms and stuff in it that may not be used. There's just a couple lights on in the bottom level. It's parks and lands in a little divot that is made just for this, and she gets off and she says, "Come inside, we'll have some food." Takes you guys inside, and
I sit up straighter.
Yeah. It's like taller adobe structures, more egg-shaped than the round ones on Tatooine. But there's many like attached, kind of like a sandcastle, kind of up and around. You guys go in, and the walls are all smooth with depictions of people or Togorians and things they may have done in the past. And I don't think there's any droid. Are there many droids on this planet? I thought, are they a little droid phobic?
I think most of I don't think they're droid phobic, but they like rely on the technology that they make themselves in a lot of ways. So it's not common, at least.
Yep. So you guys go in. It's a big sitting room. And you kind of sit down, and she just starts asking questions about where you've been and what's going on. It's almost like she's putting off hearing the actual news.
Well, and Ruurah is happy to put off telling her about it, and just like, and she's got a lot of adventures to like talk about and be like, guys, remember when the thing, and then we did the thing, and then like get input from everyone and just talk. Because it's a lot easier.
Yep. I guess everyone that wants to help this make go a little smoother, let's do a social roll.
Yay, I'm good at that.
Oh, this is going to be adorable.
What would that be?
Gather information. Knowledge, social science.
That might help. Maybe persuasion. You're not persuading her really, but you're trying to keep things upbeat, and there's no like artistic performance or anything like that, is there anymore?
30.
We'll just go with persuasion. You're not trying to get
deception.
Yeah. If you wanted to make stuff up.
Both.
Making the dangerous parts sound a lot less dangerous.
Or just trying to hide your feelings. Like you're really upset and you're like, no, I'm not. That's deception, right?
Yeah.
Well, would a 20 or a 25 be better for me?
The higher the better.
Then I'm going with deception.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it.
Already did.
Greg, you got a 30?
Yes, sir.
Hakru got a respectable 18 for his charisma check.
Oh, there you go.
Hell yes,
He's
head.
not good at any of the social grace shit.
Oh, really? You don't have any persuasion?
Only what you get from like base
Wow.
leveling,
Okay.
which is like half level.
Yeah, it's all Ruurah's got
Interesting.
too.
That's just it plus his charisma. That's all he's got. That's all he's got.
Hakru's a powerhouse and everything else except for asking people for a lower price on a blanket.
Look at it.
I'll just pay that.
Yeah, he has no social graces and no studying. Like I have no knowledges.
2 for that, you must be mad.
How for that? He sold with a Checo.
I'll give you 3 for it. What? You're going in the wrong direction. All right. Jad, what'd you get for your roll?
25.
25? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's interjecting here and there, and the fish was that big, if it was, that big, that sort of thing. The creature you guys fought on the planet way out was huge and billowing deadly poisonous smoke, and it's like he's a chorus.
How we met,
yeah.
When they asked me how we met,
Oh, shit.
I saved her, she saved me. I don't know what happened, but that's how we met.
Perfect, because I was wondering if that was going to come up with just like telling how things spun out, but yeah. So it does get to that point of how you guys met. Jad gets very like creative with his adjectives and leaving out details. And would you even tell about the life debt you guys sort of have with each other?
I don't think I bring it up.
Okay.
I don't think
the
I'd
rest
bring
of
that
us
up
don't
either.
know about it. Pretty
Right.
sure they wouldn't bring it up there either.
I
think it would be a general, these guys have saved my life a couple of times, like just it's dangerous out there, but
let's roll for her. Oh, she rolled nat 20. She goes, well, how you got off planet on his ship? How did you get? And how do you know that something happened? Like with an nat 20, she's really zeroed in on like you stole away on his ship. So
I see there was a bar over there.
no, and you don't want to go there without.
So did they find out you were on the ship, or did you get off ship on another planet?
No. Okay, now hang on. This is Mary trying to remember the actual order of events, not saying these out loud yet. But so, I know we ended up both on Jad's ship.
Yes.
When did the others? How did Jad and I get off that ship?
You killed the person that was going to kill me.
Right.
And then you passed out, and then
freed him and passed out.
Right. Right. That part happened. How did
then
you
we took
get
whatever
on the
ship was okay.
He put you in cryo freeze, and then he ejected all the dead bodies and looted them. And I don't know if he was trying to fix things up, but the Ripper found you guys.
Right, the Ripper found us, yeah.
The rendezvous, but it was in space on that ship. So basically, when she tells this story, she's gonna leave off the part where Jad was specifically on the other pirate ship, and just kind of make it sound like the Ripper, when they found us, just found the ship that we were on.
And you on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe Jad was already on that ship.
Now you roll deception while you're being, because I don't think you had
I wasn't
written it
trying to
out
lie.
and like, and you're in the moment. And she rolled a 20, like asking questions and.
That time I rolled an 18, so I got a 23.
Okay. Do you want to spend a force point or anything to knock it out?
Because I really don't.
Or a destiny point would really.
I guess that's true because I am
be
kind of
solid.
protecting our. Yeah, I'll do that.
And it has to do with you and Jad as well. So I think
Right, that's what I'm.
If you do spend a destiny point on this for rescuing Jade, performs a task. I'm going to say if you spend one, it's not so much accomplishing a goal, but it is fulfilling the destiny. Yeah. So for the next 24 hours, you and your allies within 10 squares gain a +2 destiny bonus on all damage rolls.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, the whole point of this is to make sure that nobody knows that he was one of the people who probably boarded the ship and killed a lot of our people. Like, that's
right.
In jail. I was in jail.
He didn't kill anyone.
He didn't kill
At the time, he was a prisoner. That's actually true.
Yeah.
You just said he was a prisoner on the other person's ship.
I actually don't know when he got thrown in jail,
That's
so
true.
we're playing it safe.
That's true. Okay, so you pulled the destiny point. You explain it away beautifully, and she nods. And she says, "So were they all dead on the ship?" And of course, they were all,
Everyone. I didn't know. Like, I only knew a few of them. I don't know about the other ship, but we haven't been able to find any trace of them yet either. So.
Okay. Oh, so you were on the Shalou, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so it's the Mosgoth.
The Mosgoth is MIA, as far as we know, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because they hadn't been back to the base, but
no.
We also haven't found any evidence of anything.
Correct. And you do, as you're telling the story, you realize that probably in Leto's memory banks, there is the star coordinates for where they picked you guys up. And so if you guys wanted to try and do some sort of search and rescue to find it, you might be able to, but it's been months, so if someone was drifting or if they managed to get an engine going, they could be anywhere. So.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not opposed to that idea in general, if we have time, but also this way I can at least tell everybody we have the information for everybody, including people on that ship,
right,
to let them know what's going on.
Okay. She says then she wants to hold a meeting with the family members from both ships and have them all come together and then explain, what you witnessed or what you know, and that we can go from there and decide what they want to do, or funeral services probably for at least the people on the Shalou, but the Mosgoth's a little bit more unknown. So she says, I'll make some food. I'll go get some food. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. And she gets up and goes in the kitchen, and pans are rattling around, things like that. You guys are able to sit around and talk if you need to, or get your story straight, or anything like that you want to.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, so, again, we've avoided it so far, but very quietly, we're not talking about anything Chad did before we found me, okay? Just not.
Okay. What are you talking about?
Which is fine, but it's easier if we don't bring it up.
Okay. And eventually she brings out some food and sets it out. It's like sandwiches and things like that. It is in the evening, so conversation's kind of quiet. She's not talking a whole lot.
We're just kind of filling like those empty spaces where things like where that silence stretches a little too uncomfortably, just with like cool things she's seen or neat places.
Okay.
She's been like that whole I went to Bothawi thing. That was weird. Like
yeah. She says that would be strange, with all those dogs around. Like what?
I know they did have some nice spas.
Were they constantly smelling your butt? As they do.
Right.
And the rest of you kind of get that jerk, like that's the other side that you're used to hearing coming from Lashara. The night goes on, and she's distracted. You have a feeling when she went in to cook food or make food, she cried a little bit. But she's just kind of quiet, having a glass of wine or whatever it be, space wine. Breaks out a couple bottles. And a couple hours go by, and she wants to retire for bed. And she says, there's plenty of rooms, just pick a space, and we'll have breakfast in the morning. We'll talk about what's going to do for the day. And she says, I'll send out a message to everybody real quick before I go to bed and just let them know what's going on. So she heads up, and you guys, Ruurah, you can take them all up. There's multiple bedrooms. This place was passed down through the families, and some of the families were big, so there's lots of rooms that were added on at different times. It's nothing like what you guys are used to. These are like small little rooms with tiny little beds and maybe a dresser, one bathroom on a floor, that sort of thing that everyone shares. It's not.
So I have a question. Are they tiny little beds for
Right.
us?
It wouldn't necessarily be tiny for you.
No. The tiny beds are human size for the kids.
Yeah.
Ruurah's bed is a larger size, and some of the other. If you really wanted to look, you could find a room with a larger bed, with a gigantic bed for you. Nanat looks around for another room and finds a bed more his size and goes in and crashes. Anything else?
Not tonight. Ruurah's gonna just kind of go to bed and like fail to fall asleep easily, but she's gonna try to get up earlier than everybody else tomorrow morning so she can talk to her aunt a little bit beforehand and give her the box.
Okay. Night passes, morning comes. You try to get up early, and you hear her up already, and she's heading downstairs when you kind of trying to get your clothes on and get sort of freshened up and everything. You meet her downstairs, and she is fully done up, like she'd been up for hours doing self-care and cleaning and all that stuff. And she starts making a pretty good-sized breakfast for everybody.
Ruurah's going to attempt to help. She's cooking, not her strong suit. However, she can sous chef.
Right. Yeah. And this is a routine you guys have done for a long time, so it kind of just back in the flow of things, and she puts out an onion or whatever and tells you to cube it or whatever you want, whatever she needs, and so you're just back in the home again. You don't feel like you're 12 or anything, but it feels like you haven't left this very long ago. She takes about an hour and a half preparing like quiche and fancy stuff. So by the time everyone else starts getting up, the house smells like food and coffee, space coffee, and all kinds of stuff like that. So you guys all come down, and breakfast starts. She's kind of quiet. She talks to Ruurah a little bit during the making of the food, but she keeps it very general, and anytime you get to talking about anything close or personal, she kind of closes down and deflects it a little bit. Tells you about news that's going on in Tagoria or in the city-state you guys are in, that sort of stuff. Something about you were babysitting before you left, and she's talking about some of the kids that you're babysitting, the babies that are now doing their own thing. Some graduated. About halfway through breakfast, there's a knock at the door, and she excuses herself and gets up and goes, and it's around the corner, and you hear the door open, and there's some talking, and she comes back with, let's see, a large group of people that are coming in, and they're all women, and some of them are in black, and some of them are not, and they just kind of file into this living room, dining room sort of space, and she says, these are the people that I sent messages off to. I thought we would meet later on, but it seems like they want to hear now what has happened to the loved ones that you know about. And so everything kind of shifts, and she's going into the kitchen and making more drinks and things like that and bringing it out. So again, it's up to you what you want to tell or what you know or what you want to make up. So if you want to use persuasion, if you want to use deception to make it sound nicer, it's up to you.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I think the only thing she's definitely not saying is that, Jed being part of the other crew. I think otherwise she'll tell the story pretty straightforward, because I don't think she has like the emotional capacity to like really think through a lie right now.
Okay.
but otherwise just describe what she saw, like not in gory details, just like the attack.
Yeah.
You know, it happened. They tried to save her. She was able to. She will describe being able to kill the pirate that
The Cathar.
shot her uncle.
Yeah, that was the Cath. I think it was a Cathar that.
Yeah. Which, I think it was the Cathar. That she takes, like, there's a weird, like, fierceness to that part of the story where it's like, at least I could do this.
Yeah.
Even though she was helpless to do anything else, and also shot, at the time. So.
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise, and then she will say that part of the reason it took so long to come home and tell everybody about this is that she didn't know. She didn't know most of the other, men on the ship. It's not like they were part of her daily life. And it wasn't until we found the base that we had, information on everybody. We had sort of we had an idea that we don't know the whereabouts of the other ship. They hadn't been back there. Like, yeah.
Okay.
That's most of it.
A lot of questions. A lot of people asking rough questions. So go ahead and roll.
Hey guys, I got to step away for a few minutes, but
Okay.
since I'm not involved with this right here, go ahead and keep playing, please.
Okay.
That is. I don't think the numbers change. Nope. Persuasion and deception are exactly the same at +5, so it's a 21.
Okay.
I might go ahead and force point that.
Okay.
Because I want to get through this without giving anything away or hurting too many people. +6, so 27. Yeah.
There you go. So they asked some specific questions. How do you know they're all dead? Where are the bodies? That sort of thing. And you're able to. They cleaned out most of the bodies. They disposed them in the airlock before you woke up and shot the Cathar girl. That sort of thing. So it's a quick pivot, but it lets everybody know that everybody on the Shaloo was killed and their bodies were ejected into space. As far as the Mothgoth, you're not sure. It was floating, but it had been pretty seriously damaged with a possibility of a breach. So you're not certain. The tone changes with everyone, and the grieving process starts for a lot of people. I'd say after you kind of finish up, they all leave to go do their own thing, and your aunt's kind of just sitting there stunned, hearing it all again. She's very quiet, and there's no holes in your story because you rolled well. And she just kind of like numbly gets up and starts picking up coffee cups and taking them in the kitchen and kind of staring off.
Yes, because she got distracted by breakfast this morning. At some point, she'll like go find her, somewhere in the kitchen and give her. Because now, like, the whole story has been told. We know we went to the base and she found, some of her uncle's stuff.
Oh, okay.
And wanted to give what she could back.
Okay. Did you bring that stuff with you, or was it still?
Yeah, I brought the box.
Okay. She gets emotional again and trembles while she's opening the box up and looking through things, and she says, I wonder if it's still here. And she kind of thumbs through some stuff and finds a picture of her and him and flips it over and opens up the back. And there's a folded up piece of paper that she flips open, and she kind of smiles. And she says, I think this belongs to you now. And she hands it to you. And it's blueprints. And it's all written in his hand. And lots of like questions about, will this work, and try this, and she says this is something he was working on for a while. He was trying to find parts for. I don't know how good it will work if it's put together, but he had a dream about it, and he calls it the Luminous Victory. But I don't know if there's pieces of it back at the base, or if they were on the ship. She says it's his hammer. It's his hammer he always talked about. So it's up to you if you want to make it or put it together or whatever. But I wouldn't have any use for it. But if you're out adventuring around the universe, you might be able to use it on someone. She kind of chuckles. He'd like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I can't. I'm not here to stay. I
figured.
Ran away on a whim, but there's so much out there that.
She says you sound just like him. It gets me every once in a while. You just say something here or there, and it just reminds me of him. So I understand. She says you're not the first woman to leave and go do crazy stuff. So just send me a message here and there and let me know what's going on and visit.
I will. That I can promise. Oh, and I've been collecting seeds. At some point, remind me, and I will go get some from the ship and bring them here and see what you can grow. That
sounds interesting. It'll be like a garden of honor or a garden of metal or something like that. She says, yes, that sounds good. Now, let's get this mess all cleaned up and we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. And go back in, and everyone's kind of finishing up their cold food because it's been an hour or so.
Right.
Everything picks up, and she starts getting messages on her communicating wall device. And she goes over and listens to them, and it sounds like some of the ladies want to get together to have some sort of service tomorrow. And they are also talking about possibly getting some of the younger males that were wanting to join up with them, but there wasn't enough room on the ships, to see if they want to go to the base and sort of man it and continue doing what they were doing. They keep talking about this score that apparently they were being told about for a while. What is it? She says they just keep talking about this spice shipment that they were going to knock off. It was supposed to be enough to retire on, or at least to set the families up. Something about being like 500 million credits. And there's like 25 of us, that you guys are figuring out that families that would benefit from this. So she said they kind of want to talk to you guys about that and see if you could transport the kids out there and maybe help them out with that, since it doesn't sound like none of the ships were recoverable. And then take a percentage of that if you guys want, that sort of thing. But now there's no income coming into any of those families, so some of them are really hurting.
Ruurah at some point will offer, without really thinking about it, because she's got more than 1 million credits somewhere.
Right.
But no, she already gave half of that to Mira, but she's like, absolutely will just like throw the other half at, out as an offer to, anybody who needs it, because she hasn't found anything she wants to buy right yet.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And Mira says the money you sent I can also put into this. I didn't know they were hurting as bad as they were. But we can do food or do a food run or something like that where they're all at least taken care of for a month or so. If you guys do want to help, then, they can be set up on their own for quite a while.
Yeah, and that's is yeah, no, Ruurah is well, she will say she'll stop and she'll want to talk to these guys about.
Okay. Yeah, it's just voicemails that are coming through, so it's
Right.
no one's single talking.
Okay, so yeah, we're not like having a conversation, but
Yeah.
like, so the rest of the crew.
Right. It's easy to hear because it's like the telephone's on the wall in the kitchen, and different people are bringing up different things. Like, we'd like to have a funeral service, and someone else calls and says, we'd like to see if we can get the kids together that weren't able to join up, if they can go to the base. And then somebody else calls up and says, what about the spice run that they were going to take care of and set us all up for, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah. But she's looking at like Dot and Jad and her crew, and like, I'm okay with like setting these people up at the base and like letting us have, helping them out get where they were. It's not like we're going to be able to be there, You guys have thoughts?
I think that would be good. I'm down with what you're gonna do, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Dodd looks over at his favorite pirate and just kind of half grins, like thinking to himself, well, what's in it for Jad? Not understanding the context here. Ruurah, you're an important part of the crew. Whatever you think, these are your people. Obviously we'll help, right? Obviously we'll put aside whatever it is we need to. Are you asking to transport them back and forth, or what can we do to help?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that, because we did find that place together. I just wanted to make sure that nobody felt like,
I lean closer, even though she can hear me from a stadium away. I feel like we've got our own space station. We're probably fine.
That's fair.
And then I go back to eating my cold food.
Nanat chimes in and he says, we could always use as a hideout if we need to duck low for a while, but
yeah,
we have our base. We have a big base.
Yeah, and this way it might even be more useful to us if there's people.
What are they going to do with it exactly?
Get some more ships.
Mira says, be pirates.
Do what people do.
Do you think maybe we could find them a different line of occupation? Maybe we could set them up with transporting some goods for us. Maybe we could make this a mutually beneficial situation. Find ships, bring supplies, stop weapons carriers from a planet not too far from here. That kind of thing. Look, we could use the opportunity to create some goodwill with your folks as much as we have with Lashara's folks, and ultimately we need a coalition to stop the madness that we're trying to stop, right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought that far into it. Pirating is what these people know, but I guess that means they know
how to take ships, they know how to transport things, they know how to protect their ships from pirates. No offense. And
not so bad.
Well, and it's not like we're not going to have the money to pay them,
right? And we could probably make money using their services. This could be a good, like the gesture that Kirk was using earlier, a good cycle.
True.
Hakuru, what do you think? The economy.
I think this is spinach. And he holds up one of the leaves. It is not spinach.
No, it's called kale. Nobody actually likes it, but we grow a lot of it for some reason. I haven't figured that one out yet.
That's chard.
Bottom of the salad bar, right?
It's very useful. We put it on next to our salads. We wipe our butts with it. we can eat it too. It's all good. Not after we wipe our butts, but
Wash it off first.
This episode is rated PG-13. So, yeah, I'm in favor of whatever we got to do. I'm maybe surreptitiously saying we should benefit from this as well as generate goodwill and help them at the same time, right? Because that's what we do. Because I'm a crime lord, potentially.
Nanat says if we do the run, help them get the spice, then they can buy their own ships.
Yeah. And then we can pay them to fly them for us.
Now you're cool with us taking on some spice? We've taken on worse.
Yeah. People are going to use it no matter what, so.
Yep. Okay.
And I'm just
Well,
concerned
then,
about, making
let's
sure that
figure-
these guys have a chance to get out into the universe, because that's all I really want to do right now too. So.
All right. The only stumbling block we might have is Lashara. She may object in a moral way to this endeavor. But
I'm pretty sure the spice trade is fairly illegal anyway, so it's not like we would be doing anything more illegal, right?
I draw the line.
This is
slave
already
trade.
legal.
I'm not a fan of slave
Can
trade.
say what we're getting, and just tell her we're getting some boxes of stuff.
And you're telling me you expect Lashara not to get into those boxes of stuff?
She's
Look,
pretty
I
good at
trust her.
respecting personal property, right?
I trust her to be pretty righteous about stuff. Just saying.
I
Anyway,
had thought about that.
look,
But, yeah.
we'd be helping somebody out. That would be the way that we could sell it if we have to. Ultimately, whole families getting starships so that they could steal things from other families with starships.
We don't have to emphasize that part.
Well, like I said, tell you what, if you can broker the deal, or unless you want me to broker the deal, that we employ them, we will do this run to help them get supplies, but then we're going to continue helping them by offering them employment from our base and perhaps as an opportunity for us to store a few carefully selected items in their secret hideout occasionally, maybe occasionally hide out there ourselves, and we will try to increase whatever it is that we could do for them as time goes on. We'll as things benefit us, they will benefit them. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving them an offer they can't refuse.
That sounds good. Although I will be happy to have you there to assist in the actual negotiations, because
All right.
talking to that lady.
How is my Tagoran accent, by the way? Just curious. Okay.
You might want to
Stick to basic. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to do out throughout the day? If not,
No,
I
I'm
mean, at
honestly
some point-
focused on the deal now. Like I'm running calculations.
At some point, Ruurah will run back to the ship and get some of the collection
Okay.
of small seedlings and plants that she's got
okay.
that
I
aren't
guess
growing.
later that day, there's a plot off to the back of the house, and Mira goes out and works it for a little bit and clears out the weeds and everything, puts some stones up, and plants them all. Gives them enough birth so when they grow, they're not crowding each other. So the night goes by, dinner, morning comes again, and
To be fair, we did discuss whether or not Lash would object to this.
someone could have radioed her and talked to her in the meantime. It's up to you. Unless no one wanted to, then she's sitting on the ship.
I mean, I would have said hi when I came to get my seeds.
There you go.
She's contemplating the size of a town's litter box right now. Like she's just like,
It's really, really big.
yeah.
Really big.
Yeah, you don't want to go playing in the wrong sandbox around here.
Like a Japanese Zen garden.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can catch her up when you come back, if you want. If you don't, you don't have to. Grab your stuff and you go head back. Again, the next morning, everyone's sort of dressing up. So if anyone needs to get dress up clothes, they would be heading back to the ship anyway.
So yeah, definitely would be doing that.
So I guess everybody kind of comes back and starts.
Or actually, I would have clothes here. Never mind.
You would, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I can change.
So everybody else goes back to the ship to get nice clothes, and
Yep.
Lashar is there eating breakfast. And Leto asks you what's going on, and somebody starts telling him and what the plan is and what's going to happen. Everybody goes back, gets dressed up. The funeral's on a nice hillside with lots of flowers and a couple trees, and it's very tranquil. There's no grave markers or anything with it, but people standing around and telling stories about their loved ones, and it goes on for quite a while. There's 25 families, so there's at least 25 people. There were some brothers that were working alongside of, and that sort of thing. So it's very emotional. And Mira gets up at the end and talks about Ruurah, and kind of closes it off. People standing around afterward, they're all sort of talking about taking the kids and the possibility of intercepting the spice run. And it wasn't just a one-time shipment. This is apparently a corridor where it goes through on a regular basis. So, but several of them come up to you guys and thank you, and some of the kids are there, the young men, and they're not too young, but they're all dressed up about as best as they can without being overly dressed. Does that make sense? A bunch of 20-year-olds going to a funeral. It's like they're kind of dressed up, but they're kind of not, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you might be wearing a tie, but your shirt's not tucked in, kind of thing.
Or the tie's undone, yeah, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Someone's wearing, Vans with their suit, sort of thing.
Right.
But they all kind of gather around at the end and just have questions about the base, and they kind of want to get going as soon as possible. So it's up to you guys when you want to call this or have them go.
Ruurah is not looking forward to hanging around here longer than she needs to, basically. Like, she feels like she's back home and remembering why she really wanted to be elsewhere. Like, it's confining.
Yeah.
So she's happy to be here, but she's not gonna, try to stay any longer than we need to.
Right.
So, Ruurah, who do we get to talk to about this thing? I say, surreptitiously knowing everyone in the room with their radar hearing can hear me.
About which specific thing?
Plan.
Just in general, the whole,
The plan, yeah. How do we... I want to get consent for this action.
Right,
and some
we need
agreements.
to be talking to the guys that will be,
Okay, but here's not really appropriate. It doesn't feel appropriate.
not at the funeral.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
but we can gather everybody up and later, afterwards, and I don't know, maybe even at the ship or at the port, just talk to people about what we want to do, what we can do for them, what we might want them to do for us.
Let me know what's appropriate. I'm going to head back to the ship and start doing some calculations so that I can put things kind of lined up so that I can explain this better to the people that are there, give them an idea what our operation is and that kind of thing.
And I'll kind of make that a point to tell anybody who wants to be a part of this, all the weirdly dressed young men who that we can definitely help, and we'll have a meeting on the ship, and we'll lay out everything that we can do.
Okay. They seem pretty
Sounds
happy
good.
with that and disperse. Your mother goes back, or your aunt goes back to the house. Just you guys are coming along. I don't think anyone else would really. No, there's one or two people that want to talk to her a little bit, but other than that, they kind of talk on the way back to the house, and they split off when they get to their places. So you guys go back to the house. Everyone kind of takes off their loosens up their ties and things like that, and she has drinks or refreshments or whatever. So, when did you guys want to meet with the young crew, I guess?
The Youngbloods.
Yeah.
Right. I don't. I mean, probably is as like later that evening if there's not like if this was a early day kind of thing.
Okay.
No point in putting it off longer than we need to.
Yeah. So contact one of the mothers, and she sends the word out. And about 8 o'clock, you have about 15 people showing up. And the person that knocks on the door, you guys open it. He says, "I'm Dankin," and he shakes hands and walks in. He says, "I'm kind of the de facto leader, I guess, of everybody." And he kind of goes around and introduces everybody. We'll get into the names later if it's necessary, but everyone kind of comes in and sits, and most people stand, and they just say, what's the plan? How are you guys thinking it's going to unfold?
Well, we're thinking we can get you all leased out back to the base. Definitely there. Be able to shuttle back and forth. We can help with this run, at least the first. Although it sounds like Greg has an issue.
Oh, I'm just asking. Am I here right now, or am I on the ship still planning?
I assume you went to the funeral.
Okay. I just said that I'm going to go back to the ship when we're done.
Oh, okay.
But
Right,
if I'm here, great. I will chime in where appropriate. But I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to know whether or not I was here.
If you said you were going back to the ship, you probably would have went back since this would be happening later.
Yeah.
Unless you contact them.
Yeah, because I was thinking
either way.
Ship, you can all, we'll figure it out so that you're there.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
Taking off my
I wanted you to help.
Getting ready to head out, but
coordinate this too. So
I give you the look on my face of, we're doing this now. Okay. All right.
Well, this is later on in the evening. So between the funeral and you could have come back to the ship after the funeral. A few hours went by. You did some stuff, and they called you back in for the planning.
I roll up my charts and graphs, head on back.
Download things to your data pad, and yeah. So
okay, so they're all sitting around the living room or whatever it would be, the den, and you guys are just sort of laying out how it's going to unfold.
Yeah. Here's the idea. Here's the base. We definitely could use people there. Nobody else has discovered it yet. Keeping it manned is a good idea. We can probably get you set up on that first run, get you your own ships with that, and keep your families in gear. And also, by the way, maybe have some other opportunities that are less piratey, but will still get paid. So, and keep you out in the universe, in the galaxy. They always say galaxy. It's the galaxy. Keep you out in the galaxy.
Yep. They all seem to be pretty much on board, so they don't have a lot of questions.
I will, instead of making a plea and a really cleverly worded requests and all of those things, I just roll up my charts and graphs and all that stuff and put them under my shoulder and. Okay.
They all seem like they're a little green. They've never been out into space more than once or twice. Some of them have some piloting experience, but that's kind of it.
Then Ruurah feels even better about babysitting this first mission and then giving them a chance to get out there maybe a little bit safer.
Okay. And they pack up whatever they need to pack up, and so they'll be ready in the morning if you guys want to go in the morning. Okay.
Spend my evening time trying to make a hollow 3D rendering of the key, whatever the key would be, to go into the thing.
Into your lock.
And so that's I'm going to hand it out to everybody and say, hey, I'm going to offer a really big reward, substantial reward, if this is found on the base.
Okay.
And brought to me.
Okay. It's basically a hexagon. That's all you can get from it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just an indentation. It's a hexagon indentation.
Sure. Well, okay, I'm still going to do it.
Surely we could put together something similar to that, right?
Yeah.
In that shape. You think it would work? I'm
No.
suddenly distracted by the by the box. What's in the box? So let's say we build something about that shape and size, and I look over at Leto. Leto, you think you could build something roughly this shape and size? Leto, I mean, not Leto.
He says, "Yeah, we could easily do that. I don't know what the
Okay.
internal mechanisms are, but
Does it look like there are internal mechanisms that would work with this, or is this just a
there's
physical
no
key?
seals. There's no nothing.
Oh, we can start here.
So you have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he thinks it's probably got to be made out of the same material as the rest of the box.
how is your metallurgical scan skills?
I don't. Did anyone know what it was? His knowledge isn't that good. It's
Okay.
it's a
Chris
metal
hasn't even seen this box. He has no idea what people are talking about.
So he has no idea. So what we can go back and look at it. I thought we tried to scan it, and the scans bounced right off it.
Okay, but otherwise it looks like cold steel, right?
It looks like I can't think of the name of it.
100% pure concentrated evil. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I can't think of the name of the steel that's folded so many times it has that rippling like oak.
Damascus steel.
Damascus steel. That's it.
Okay, so very fine steel and
Resistant to lasers and everything.
not my blaster. No. Okay. Yeah.
So he makes up a mock of the shape of this medallion or key or whatever and hands it out to the young guys, and they all nod. No one seems it's not familiar to anybody. So
If you find it, it's worth 250,000 credits.
their eyes all get big.
Ruurah did like pause with an eyebrow, going, "I wonder what is he going to undervalue this?" Or
Right. If you find it, I will give you 500 credits.
right,
500.
$2.
Right.
The only other thing Ruurah's going to do is like she's probably not going to sleep a whole lot tonight, but she will like spend some time like spreading out those blueprints and seeing, just poring over them, seeing what it is.
A mechanics roll.
Seeing what she can work out, or if she's seen anything like the parts at the base. 29.
It looks like it's some form of a gravity hammer, but it's gigantic, or it's way bigger than any gravity hammer you've ever seen.
Wait, didn't you mention that guy had that hammer earlier? Never mind. Ignore me. God, I'm such an idiot today.
It was
I don't know what my problem is.
It was the blueprint that she was given. It was a hammer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Blueprint stuff.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the key to Jad's box.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like, I'm going to pour over the plan, the 3D plans that he made.
No.
And it looks like it's a hammer. Well, wait a minute.
All that.
Right.
Were we talking about a hammer?
Yeah.
Okay.
The luminous victory
like,
is what she's looking over.
That's Jad's thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'll be over here.
So the rest of the night goes by uneventful. Morning comes, and everyone gets up early, and she's made breakfast, and you guys go outside, and they look like freaking pirates. They did not look like pirates yesterday, but now they have like duffel bags and like combat boots with like bandanas tied across them and helmets that don't match, and some people have like vests on and things like that. They look very motley. So, and Ruurah, when you look at them, they look like the crew of the Shalou. I mean, they really, it's like everyone's got the same idea for what they look like, or had pictures of their relatives and maybe got their old clothes and stuff. So it's
that
very
gives her a little
vu.
bit of a pause, but yeah. This is still what she wants to do.
Yep.
She does take a minute to like, before, like as everything's getting ready in the morning and before we're getting ready to leave, she's gonna stop by that one flower bed that she was laying in like earlier. Just
Yep.
Maybe kind of steal one of the flowers, take up one of the plants,
Yep.
pot it, and take it so we can take it with her.
Yeah. all the plants that were bloomed are now not bloomed, but they're still
Right.
healthy, and it's easy to just scoop one out and take it with you.
Okay.
Take it back to the ship. I'm sure you've got a couple cups and pots and things sitting around, and goes right in it. The crew all comes on board, and they're all very like everyone's like shaking their head, looking around, like nice ship, sturdy ship.
Gonna be cramped quarters for a little while, but not for long.
They have no qualms with that.
Let me get this straight. A whole bunch of pirates walk onto the ship and start, this is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I give them all a very stern look.
I was gonna say they're all also hardly older than I am, so it's
It's probably worse.
Yeah.
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 They haven't even been to boot camp yet. Like
No.
Right. They're just like, any ship could be ours. Look at this one. It's pretty nice.
They've been out hunting out in the wild, so some of them do have some skills. Most of them have good hunting skills by now.
Well, and they definitely have some smells that Lash, she feels them coming through the force, and she's like,
it's a lot of chaos.
She doesn't know whether she really wants to come out and meet these people because, Dragorian.
Yeah. And you could put them in one of the cargo bays, probably all of them.
Right, that's kind of what I figured that we could have. We have, bring a bedroll in.
Yep.
We've got some cargo space.
Yep. You put them in a cargo bay, and they start putting up hammocks and all. I mean, it's pirate stuff.
You can see Jed dragging the E-Web to his bunk.
So Lash
going.
Lash decides finally that she is not going to be confined to quarters for this. So she comes down to see what the rigmarole is. Then she sees all these Tagorians, setting up all this stuff, and she just shakes her head and lowers her head and looks at Ruurah and holds her hands up and says, "More?"
And as soon as you say that, several of them spin all at once and take like a not a combat stance, but they're all like startled. And the fur starts like coming up. And once a few of them do it, they all like slowly start turning, and there's a weird growl going on because they don't know who you are. But you just showed up.
Right.
Yeah, there's a growl coming from Lash that no one on ship has heard before. It's real low and intimidating, and she's kind of startled by it herself.
And Ruurah, she's got like the ears flat back, not in angry, but in the I'm not entirely sure what's going on, and if I should be in the middle of it.
Yep. So there's a little bit of a standoff going on.
Right.
Lashara against 25, youngling Tagorians, green Tagorians.
It's fine. I mean, they are going to mostly hang out here, and hey, I survived a whole planet of you, so...
They're all kind of looking at each other, and they're all watching how Ruurah interacts with Lashara very carefully.
Yeah, and eventually she kind of she backs off. She's like, she eventually feels like this was all handled outside of her sphere of influence. So she just looks over at Ruurah and says, "Is there a place nearby I can buy a lot of catnip?" As she just like kind of walks down the gangway.
And since she turns her back and walks away, they all kind of relax. Who is that? What was that going on?
She also lives on the ship. It's fine. She doesn't smell that badly. It's okay. Or you get used to it. Not sure which yet, but
one of them grumbles, "I want to bite her tail."
It's just fur. Don't just get a mouthful of fur. It's not worth it. Trust me.
Goes back to tying his hammock up. All right, so after a little bit of settling in, Nanat takes off and goes heading out again. Boy, a couple days of this being on ship with everybody. It's not too bad, but people are getting a little stir crazy, especially the younglings. Let's see what we'd be doing. This would be
Hakru would offer to modify any of their weapons.
Okay. They take you up on that.
Yeah, it only takes like a few hours per weapon, and it's really just me making mechanics rolls. And if I want to, I can take 10. I auto succeed. Basically, all of their weapons get an extra die of damage, but if they roll below a 5, it jams, and on a 1, they explode.
Right. Word gets out, and they are all coming to you for modifications of all kinds. So if you can do different stuff, scopes or whatever. Some of them have scopes that aren't lined up real well, that sort of thing. Everything needs to be tweaked a little bit. Dressed up.
That stuff I can do in my sleep. No, I'm like talking about getting better power output for these things.
Yep. Anything you can do, they are once one person has it done and they go and show the others, then suddenly there's like 2 people and there's 5 people, that sort of thing. And so they're all small talking and doing that, socializing things. They're not really good at it, so a crew kind of chiming in with them. It's funny, but you're all kind of on the same level. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of quiet, like you do something and you go, huh, and they all go, sort of thing. They're following along and enjoying what you're doing as you're doing it. So, and as you're walking around the ship the next day or so, like people are like nodding to you and like fist bumping you and things like that. And you don't know what's going on, but it feels like you're all part of the same crew now. From your angle. Yeah. It's like they all became friends with you. Like you're their best friend all of a sudden. And you're like in the spotlight.
Honestly, probably about halfway through the second day then, if that's the case, Hakuru's going to go hide in his quarters. Not a spotlight guy. Not a spotlight guy.
Yep. Yeah, so every time he goes out to go to the bathroom or something, someone's there like, hey, what's up? Hey, it's a crew. And they all, and you go, and you go to the bathroom, close the door.
And Ruurah is happy to leave him to like that kind of attention because really, like, we're the same people and I want them to have these opportunities, but oh my God, boys.
Yes. Yep. So they're wanting to practice with their new guns and everything. So they're going to the other cargo bay where Jad has stuff set up and they're trying to shoot and things like that. So, Jad, what are you doing this whole time? Sitting in your bunk?
Oh, I'm showing them a thing or two.
Okay.
On how to shoot.
Again, once they figure out that you know more than them, it's a hierarchy thing. And they all start asking for pointers and how to do this. And what if I want to do this? What if I do a spin and shoot?
Oh, I'm all about it.
Does that add like a plus 20? Because I think it does.
Watch
a spin, and he spins.
Counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Like go backwards and flare your
show him how to spin. Yeah, spin backwards down to one knee.
That's a cool trick. What about spinning? Okay.
So once it gets out, you have a line of people like they're all standing and they're all holding a gun. You're like, okay, then do this and pull back, and they're all doing the same thing. So you started getting at the big head sort of like teacher. You're helping out a lot more than you're like giving out little advice, but they're really just like every little bit is being absorbed. So it's a good ego thing for everybody that's interacting with them. And yes, Ruurah, there is one person that is not bothering you, but asking you questions. You keep finding him in the engine room, like looking over things. And his name is H''SISHE. Hasishi?
H''SISHI.
Okay. And he is mechanically inclined, so he seems to like be figuring things out. And when you come in, he asks you about where's the power transfer.
Right.
How does
almost
that work?
Despite herself, she's like, A, answering questions, and then B, starting to show off everything that she's done to the ship. And like, but if you think that's cool, look at what we did over here. We ran this power line all the way through so we can run the E-web from
eats it up, and is mentally taking notes on things, and starts going into like, what would happen if this broke, and how would you do this or that, or so it's a lot of field advice, triage for things happening and things like that. So,
and it's a lot of her like knowing some things and then stopping and going, never thought about that. Here's how I would do it. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So everyone sort of has their people that are following. You guys keep going in the cockpit every once in a while. There's two different people there that are sort of talking in a nod and asking questions, and it seems like they're thirsty to have someone teach them. It's like they were all told, no, you're too young, there's no room, and so they just like left them on planet. And they've really been wanting to do this for years, so this is a big opportunity for them. So
at some point, Lash comes down, just because she can't help herself, and they're training with Jad, and she walks over and she's just has like this face full of disappointment in what she's seeing with these kids, and she's acting like she's sitting there looking at them and shaking her head, and she looks over at Jad and says, "Well, Jad, this is all well and good, but what happens if they find themselves in a situation where they don't have a gun?"
Oh, Knight's coming up next. Vibroblade training.
All right. Well, I don't want these little kittens to go off without some kind of hand-to-hand combat training, so give me a call when you want me to throw them around a little. Then she kind of walks back out of the room.
Okay. After questioning them, none of them have a blade. But you should probably have about 35 or 40 or 50 blades that you've been picking up of dead corpses over the last 16 episodes or whatever. So,
have you ever sold a knife that you picked up? Nothing?
Nor blaster, nor nothing. So, at least
Do I know
We
about
didn't
any of
sell
this?
the blasters, but we gave away a bunch of them to a village.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
About 35 of them. Did you? Yeah, but they were taking off the bodies of the people that came in to cause trouble, so it didn't cost you anything.
We believe in recycling.
Yep. But there's been other episodes where you guys were in firefights. At least at the Caffrey estate, there was about 10 people that had weapons and things like that. So you got quite a few, and everyone's almost always had like a vibro knife on them or something. So with a blaster.
They hand out some of the ones I have.
Don't these kids got claws?
They all do have claws.
Yeah.
But he starts talking about knife fighting and stuff, and they're all like, "We've never even thought about using a knife. I cuts the foods with it."
They're all turkey one tooth.
Meanwhile, Lashar is talking about showing up with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
It feels like
No.
feels like an unweighted balance here.
No. No. She's a noble, so she's skilled in some hand-to-hand
Fencing.
stuff that they do, fencing and stuff. And then along with the training she's been doing as a Jedi, which, there's lots of hand-to-hand,
And 3 of them seem to be really taken to the training, the hand-to-hand. And they've all been hunting, so they have spears and things like that with blades on them, but they never thought to take them off and get in close or let someone get in close. So this is a whole new world to them. This is a close combat fighting with a knife. Like, you would stab them while they're 6 feet away and not worry about it. So they eat it up. The leader and 2 of the hunters really start picking up on everything and training for a couple days. So this just kind of repeats and repeats and repeats until you guys get to the base, come out of light speed, and there's the asteroid field, and you've got it kind of mapped out so it's easy to get in and out of everything. Like I said, the asteroids aren't flipping around like in Empire. You guys get to it, get in and land, and the lights all kind of slowly come up when you guys touch down, and the Minox that kind of grabbed on fly off, and landing ramp goes down.
Ruurah's gonna kind of like be the guide for the, so we're here.
Yep.
And, make yourselves at home, and then very quickly like lose interest in showing them the tour and have more interest in finding the parts file and seeing if there are any parts to the blueprint she has, what might be lying around that would go to that, what she might still have to find.
Do you guys want to claim any of the rooms before they get to claiming rooms and stuff?
Mine's the one that's closest to that area that had the overhang where the people were, where the window looks over the bay.
Okay.
Whatever bedroom or room is closest to that.
Okay.
However, before I go and stake a claim on that, because I'm happy to kick out whoever goes in there, I go to Jad and I go, Jad, do we have a scanner here?
That's a good question. I don't really know, but I'm going to go claim my room real quick. And I'll get back with you on that. And I run to that same room.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm going to look for a scanner and see if I can't find another piece of metal that repels scanning. Because the inverse of a scan should be about as good as a scan, right? So look around for this thingamabob.
So you and Ruurah are kind of in the parts mechanics area messing around.
Yep. Probably knocking over crates and
Ruurah's room, but she is distracted at the moment.
So you two roll perception rolls.
Maybe we should have taken a look around before we went straight to escapades.
Or maybe we're just, searching on our escapades.
Right.
I'm trying to do math, and 24.
24?
25.
25. Mary, three of the 6 pieces are either in the pile or they're kind of set aside. They're on a shelf. And one of the pieces is back in his room.
Okay.
And it looks like he was tinkering around on it. Like he was collecting them and then working on one piece at a time and restoring it. The other 2 pieces are not restored. They're pretty old looking and rusted and need to be really fixed up. Todd, you do find a scanner. And it's a little handheld device.
2 handles.
Yeah.
And like a little screen with like Pac-Man level graphics, probably. Yeah. Okay.
It makes the sound. It makes the sound from the machine guns on Alien.
Nice.
Aliens.
Yeah. The motion detectors.
The motion detector. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay.
You probably will need some help. Do you have mechanics at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
A ton of.
Then you can go into Jad's room, bust in.
Yep, I've got an 11.
He's
That's never a good idea.
He turns around with his hands on it.
Right, I
wasn't touching myself.
He's got like knives in both hands coming out of his elbow. It's like
Grievous
knives in Gun City. Yeah,
General Kenobi.
Hey, Jad, look what I found. And I show him the metallurgical scanner or whatever the heck it is. What do you think of this?
Jad has no idea what you have. And he's muted.
I mean,
there you go. He looks at it.
I said, what is that?
Stars in his eyes.
I have a plan. We could scan for something that reflects a scan rather than trying to figure out what this metal is. And I think this box will help us do it. So let's see if we can't find your thingamabob.
You can attune the scanner to just scan the properties that you can pick up on. So it's complete. You're looking for a negative space, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. Poor Jad is not that smart.
I attended a couple of art classes. So
and the range is about 10 feet. You can walk around with it.
10 feet? Yeah. Okay. Then that's what I'll do, and I'll show Jad what I'm seeing on the screen.
Okay.
What do you think? Huh?
Yeah, let's check this out.
Okay. That'll keep us occupied for a little while.
Yeah, quite a while. It's a pretty good sized base, so you guys just start walking around the hallways against the doors and scanning inside, that sort of thing. So, anybody else?
Well, Lash has been cooped up in her room for most of this journey, doing some mostly, quote unquote book learning with the master. There just hasn't been enough room to do anything physical. So now that she's in this space, this big old hangar, that can hold, more than one ship, and there's just us there. She's going to go out there with her lightsaber and just completely immerse herself in the Force for like a full-on physical training kata lightsaber engaged session.
Okay. If you take your hollow crown out, if you take it out, she shows up, and a little training remote comes out, and then she also engages. She lets you do the remote for a while to sort of get warmed up, and then she ignites her saber and starts sparring.
And I don't think any of the other Togorians had she wouldn't have showed them any of this. Like, they would not know that has any of these features at all. But she's not that worried about it. They seem to be friendly enough despite the smell.
After they sort of wander around a while, you have an audience of about 13 of them. So over half are sort of sitting around on crates watching you do this for hours, enthralled. And some of them are eventually start picking up like sticks or pieces of metal and start like trying to do the forms, that sort of thing. So, this goes on for hours of you training, and it's also Jenna training you as well. So she'll take you through some stuff and then strike you and then back up and explain, where the hole in your defenses was and things like that. And so it seems like she's also mindful that other people are sort of watching her perform the forms and sort of over explaining maybe a little louder than she normally would what's going on. So
when a crew realizes that a group has gathered in this bay, he is going to bring over the Gonk droids and introduce them to the Togorians.
Okay.
It's just very simple. Oh, yes. So these are your senior members of this establishment. They have been here, much longer than you have. So pay them their due respects. This is EG-82, and this is EG-14BA.
Whatever you say is gold to them. So they all nod and pat the droids and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it takes you a while, but every time you stop in front of like 2 or 3 people, they stop watching Lashara and listen to you carefully and what you say. And
I'm just introducing the droids. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm not sure
they had no personality whatsoever other than saying what power level they were at.
Yeah.
And so I really played something like they heavily monitor the power output of the station and what they are currently capacitating, which is very important.
They take note.
Kind of a relevant side question here.
Yep.
In our courses of training, because her cruise has been a bit different than mine.
Right.
Have we ever been pitted against each other for training?
No.
Okay.
He does not have a lightsaber, so it hasn't gone
Right.
to that level. There might be things like
what
stacking stones, that sort of thing, doing flips and running, that sort of stuff. Yeah, you guys have sort of paced each other, but it wasn't never a competition or a race or anything like that.
When Lash is done, she's gonna ask her crew if he'd be interested in trying, just because it's so different, like with a real opponent, to have mock sabers or something sometime. She like extends him the offer. She doesn't. She just wants to, go against someone other than her master that might be of equal skill.
Yeah.
The crew is definitely not of equal skill to you.
She instructs you to open up your lightsaber and adjust something down to a certain level and then close it back up and hand it to him. And she explains what you're doing is you're basically turning this into just a light blade that will pass through things, but he can still train with her and her lightsaber. But he's not going to chop his arm off or that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah, so let's just do this real quick. Her crew is thank you, but no thank you. I see the value, and it is I see your joy when you do this, but I don't believe this is for me. But thank you.
She looks kind of defeated for both, having a sparring partner other than her master, but also like that, your answer, while she kind of expected it's still definitely bumming her out, but she accepts it. She understands and doesn't push. She doesn't pursue anymore. She just kind of bows to him and says, "Well, the offer still stands if you ever change your mind," and kind of exits with grace.
Yep.
Yes, thank you very much. If the what is phrase Dad uses? If the urge ever takes me, you will be the first to know.
All right.
Yeah, a crew
I can live with
very
that.
much rejects the Force and is literally only learning so that he can hide from people.
Okay.
Jenna tells you to turn your power settings back to normal. Anybody else doing anything while they're all kind of running around? Scanning. Scanning is going to take about 4 hours to completely scan everything inside.
We'll be pretty thorough.
Yeah, that's the 4-hour
Yes.
version.
Okay.
Depending on how long we're here, after Hakru introduces the Gonk droids to everybody, he's not a big fan of the Minox biting the ship, so he's going to see if he can't do something with the shielding to make them taste bad.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a possibility. It would be a trial and error.
Yeah, we can just
sort of
put it
thing?
as he's starting the research.
Okay. You guys don't have a separate ship right now. You can sort of fly out and tinker around yet.
Right. So he's going to be reading up on Minox.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to do in the meantime? They're kind of antsy, and after I'd say a day, they're kind of asking like, when can we go and stake out the run and all that stuff. Dankin comes up to you guys and asks that. They're getting kind of nervous. They're getting kind of antsy. They want to know when we can go and sit on the trade route.
I mean, I don't have any reason not to go do things. Ruurah's been like in and out of her room, just kind of messing with these parts, doing what she can.
Yeah.
Starting where, Rav left off. Mildly obsessing over this, occasionally going back to water plants in the Ripper.
Yeah, the restoration of these pieces is going to take a couple days each, and there's no rush in it. It's like you found an old Gatling gun, and you've taken it. You got to take it completely apart, replace some pieces, clean everything up, that sort of thing. It's in pretty rough condition.
Right, and she's not trying to rush. She's almost using it as a meditative exercise.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, you're taking 20 on all these fixes, so it's just taking a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, if you don't go out the next day or tell him anything, he comes back in a couple days and like they're really getting antsy about sitting on that trade route. They'd rather be sitting there than here in case they don't want to miss the next one.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. We might as well gather up everybody. I go find, Dodd.
Okay.
Hey, sorry for cutting in. We just have the one ship right now, right? Like, because I know we've got like the spare sitting somewhere, but that's more of a yacht.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, we just have the Ripper, right? That's currently here and available.
Correct.
Yeah, we've talked about doing some other ships or even hiring, a group of fighters for the station, which we may have done. I'd have to check.
Right.
No?
No.
Yeah, we haven't done anything with that.
Talked about it.
Right.
But
But
I don't think we've-
it's very much sorry for cutting people off, but what I'm trying to get at here is if we plan on leaving this with these guys doing things, We have to get them a ship.
No, that's so that what we're going to do is we are going to take them on the ship and do this first run to get the money to set them up with their own ship so they can take it from there.
Yep.
I missed that. Thank you.
Was what I understood the plan to be.
Yep.
So, because this is worth several hundred, whatever million credits, so it's enough to help their families, but also enough to get them set up in their own ships, so that we can then use them from there.
Yeah. Pay off some debts, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So when do you guys want to go?
I mean, I'm as soon as he comes back the second, like basically he came the first time and I went, yeah, we should definitely get going. And then she got distracted again. And so the second time she's like, right, before I can get lost anything, I go find Don.
Yep.
So I'll be sitting there disappointed that we didn't find anything. I'm assuming we didn't find anything because we didn't roll or anything, right?
No.
Can I roll to see if we discover anything interesting that we could find?
You took 20, and so anything, it's 20 plus whatever your scanning would be.
Gotcha.
And you're scanning for that mineral, and there's the only thing he coming up with is the box.
The box.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
And
it's roughly sarcophagus shaped, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably you could fit 2 people in it side by side, but it'd be tight.
Yeah. It's not how I want to spend my holiday. Okay. Yeah, Ruurah, what's going on?
We should probably. I think things are getting a little restless around here, and I'm, I think we need to get out and get these guys going before we lose this opportunity to set them up.
Look at my data pad. All right, what's the plan? We've got a route. We know where it is. We know where the product is.
No.
So what is the plan?
They just heard that there was this run that was going to be that the pirates were going to be hitting, but no one has any details that was on the planet.
All right.
Well, let's see if we can find.
Yeah, give me 6 hours to hunt the net and see if I can't find anything. Meanwhile, why don't you ask
the database that's on the station? They might have their information.
Turns out I've got some credible hacking skills.
Yeah.
So give me a little bit of time to figure that out. Why don't you keep them occupied by having them load supplies and gear, have them scavenge together, armor, protection, weapons, whatever it is that they need. Yeah. Okay. I mean, try to shoot for practical. It looks like they're young, so they're going for fashion right now. Shoot for practical.
Ruurah pauses and goes, not sure I know the difference in her head, but okay.
Well, Dot has no idea how young Ruurah really is, by the way. So, anyway, okay.
Fair enough.
Let's go with computers, right?
Okay. Yeah, you go in the command and control area and banks of computers and you roll use computer.
Okay. All right, 2 points better for computer checks.
It should all be configured into your roll.
Well, this is for the visor.
It should be configured into your roll already, I believe. There should be like a +2 out to the side of use computer.
Use computer shows 3 for the skill and then a 1. So 3. And that's for my half skill level.
I'm looking on your sheet, your character sheet.
Yeah. This is 18, 3, and 3. I rolled a natural 20, so it hardly matters.
3 * 2.
Oh, that's what that is.
You got to read all the way to period, mister. So it's all figured
I
out.
only use half the word when I have to. Okay, so this roll will come to a whopping 38.
38. You get in, and it doesn't take hardly any digging, and you come along the file that says the Spice Raid. Easily
Those
enough.
Spice Raid.
Yep.
They were one of my favorite 90s bands, and they're back once again. Okay. I'm going to download all the I'm going to check for viruses, and then I'm going to download all the pertinent information into my pad, and then I'm going to email it to HK and Nanat and the ship.
Yeah. What you find out is it's a run that goes through the Dalang system, Daalang. They stop and apparently meet up with other ships and divide the shipment. And so when they're docked, they're all vulnerable.
Okay.
And it's like every 3 days it goes through. Let me see if I can find the Dalang system. I just wrote down what number that was.
All right. Then I'm going to get on the comm and say, I'm assuming that the computers that we're in are in that area that overlooks the bay, where, like that bay where we landed, right? Like that I don't know what I imagine to be an upraised section with a window that runs across the room.
Yeah.
Like a control center, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ping everybody and say, hey, looks like it's about time to roll on this op. Based on the information that I'm reading, the next window will be, you would tell me probably because I'm looking at
it's just every 3 days. They don't know.
Every 3 days?
Yeah.
Are we, so it looks like we've got a 3-day window. Could happen anytime during those 3 days.
Yeah.
Let's put together a plan. In other words, please come to this room and discuss it.
Wow.
Yeah, you do get a lot of blank stares for a minute.
Right.
Like everybody looks around at each other and goes, "Can you hear it? Like what's the? Oh, okay, right. Go meet up in a place."
I'm not exactly a tactical thinker, and I'm not really a masterful pilot, and I've never pirated before. So, maybe some of your skills will come in handy in putting together a plan for this. So let's do it.
1, 2, 3. It's about 4 days away.
Okay.
It's kind of close to I'm sorry. You guys were on Tagoria and you flew all the way back. That was 4 or 5 days in a ship. And so the Dalang system is almost straight up from the base. Like almost 2 days away. It's nothing at all.
Does the information show who was the owner of this spice run?
It's a hut. It's one of the huts. Hut Syndicate.
Oh, good. We love messing with those guys.
So,
Absolutely. It's not like we haven't done that already.
right.
How could it possibly get worse?
Just interfere with a different hut's business.
There you
Why
go.
not?
Right. Well, we can always blame it on the first hut.
Right?
There you go. There you go.
One of the advantages of criminals.
Or just space pirates.
Yeah.
Nothing
I mean,
crazy.
that's literally what we're doing, right? We're
Yep.
just being space pirates. We could be any space pirates.
Yep.
Right.
Space pirates. What other kind of pirates are there? Anyway.
Do you have a pirate flag?
Yep.
Anyway. Okay.
Can we stick a flag in it?
Yeah.
It's ours. Nobody can argue with us.
Right. No flag, no country. Those are the rules. I just made them up.
And I'm ducking them up with this gun.
Okay. So, it's not very far away. You guys are all packed up. They've been loading up the ship for an hour or so. And they're kind of antsy, so you guys all pile in. Anybody not going with? Anybody staying behind or anything?
I say, is everyone? Are all of the Tagorians going? Or are some of these guys operators for the station?
The mechanic could stay behind if it wanted. But everyone else is really excited to go and do things. The mechanic is enthralled with the amount of stuff that he can tinker with and take apart and put back together and that sort of stuff.
Doesn't seem dangerous at all.
He's been working with Ruurah for several days, so she doesn't get any bad
Whenever
vibes
she's
off
not locked in the room with those parts, she's out
Right.
working on stuff. So. Yeah, no, I think so far the plan is go, hang out for at most 3 days, and then figure out what we're looking at when we find it, right? Does anybody have a better plan?
Yeah, and when a galactic cruiser shows up armed to the teeth, we'll be like, "Oh yeah, sorry, we're in your space lane, sir. We'll be getting out of your way now."
We haven't done anything yet. I'm
Right.
sure it's fine.
Her
But
crew.
we have to remember that there were only 2 ships in that pirate crew. So if they thought they could take this on with only 2 of their ships, we have a chance.
500,000 credits worth of
500 million.
500 million.
But like you said, they're going to be docked, parked,
Right.
vulnerable.
Right.
We've got a chance. Ruurah is all excited about this. Like you've never she hasn't been gung ho for anything quite like this before, but like she's surrounded by.
I see Ruurah's excitement, and I look over at Jad. Does Jad seem likewise excited? Is he salivating at the opportunity to bust down an airlock and like go traipsing around to pull out of? How much volume are we talking about? Like physical space? Does 500 million credits worth of space? Are we going to have to capture this ship and then send everybody out in escape pods? Like,
I mean, if we do it the right way, we won't have to buy them a ship. They will just have a couple new ships.
That is true. That is true.
How we get, it's how we do things in the pirate world.
Dodd, you are instantly able to calculate how much spice this would cost in your head.
You don't have to ask that question. You just know.
You know.
Right.
This is about 5 crates worth.
5 crates.
Yeah.
Like the crates that we saw in Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So
in the Boba Fett, they were like this big.
Yeah.
But it was enough to buy a whole town. No, these are
Yeah.
like storage crates. Like
So these are like Ark of the Covenant
I
size
was just going to
crates.
say that. Yes.
a little
that's what I was
smaller,
picturing.
little smaller.
A little smaller.
Yeah, a person can lift them up. It's like for us, it would be like a storage bin.
I was just like one of those reinforced suitcase.
Got
Kind
it.
of, yeah.
Okay. So 5 of those
5 of those.
in size. So 1 million or 100 million is one of
Each
those.
one, yeah.
Right. So think of the value of like a trunk full of cocaine. I
Yeah, exactly. Or more heroin,
Yeah.
right? Heroin's
I get.
more-
I'm like my skin's crawling
Yeah,
thinking
it's
about it.
I mean,
Not
this
that I
time
would know
it's
that.
upper versus downer. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be pretty heavily guarded. I look over at the would-be pirate crew. Does it look like any of them have managed practical protection versus fashion protection?
They've been out hunting in the wilds of Tagoria for a couple of years.
So they know their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not
Okay.
they're not
They've
newbies.
had some.
Right.
Yeah, they've had training with us. Not that that's massive, but we've kind of shown them the edges of technology that they may not have known.
And you
This
get
direct-
to like see, like get a gauge on their capabilities, and
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yep. I think we'll see what this is. Like the her crew. When it comes to the cannons on this ship, we've got a couple. Are any of them ion guns? Can any of them be converted to ion guns? Do we have ion guns in the pirate bay that we can attach onto this ship?
No.
the crew is just waiting for you to finish asking all of your questions.
making a mental list. No.
And
no,
before
no,
you answer, I
no,
turn
no.
to Lashara and say, "And Lashara, how?" Just kidding. Okay, no, seriously. What do you think?
We do not currently have any ion cannons on our ship. The conversion is possible, but takes time and parts that we do not necessarily have. But there is always hotwire, but I would prefer to not hotwire my home.
Yeah.
Say, Ruurah
I
gets
can't.
one of those like ears flat. Hang on a second. No.
Okay. I look back at you guys. I look at Ruurah then and I say, "Okay, Ruurah, you're kind of like mechanical aptitude pirate girl. What would you use to disable a cruiser if it came in?" Like, I prefer not to just shoot a bunch of holes in this thing and then park up next to it and sky jump or space jump between the two, right? That feels like a whole lot of there could be a better plan.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the situation is. What kind of ship is it gonna be? Who knows?
Yeah.
We might as well just go see and figure it out when we get there.
Okay. What kind of stealth capabilities do we have?
I mean, we can
Just
fly
change our.
casual.
Yeah, you can change your
Yep.
your
Yeah, we can
footprint.
change our ID. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that for sure because I don't want to get whatever we're doing tied back to us.
Well, can't we just turn it off if we're sitting, not wanting to get noticed?
Yeah. That's true.
Is there any way that we can fake a large cruiser Republic signal that we could use to our advantage somehow?
That would take some work. And I thought that took a while to do the first
I think it did.
off
I'd also be
off
near-
Ripper and like one other thing, like a different sort of ship, and I don't remember what we set it to.
I don't know.
I
But I
mean,
also feel like I'd be a little bit nervous about that because if we do broadcast a signal like that, what stops it from just running and we don't get anything out of it?
Right.
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering what assets we have that might be useful here.
Well, it looks like we've got a wheelbarrow, a Holocaust cloak.
Does anybody have Starship Tactics or anything like that? That's a knowledge.
I do not.
No.
I have vehicle combat.
Vehicle combat. But it's not a skill, is it? It's not related to a skill.
No, it's
I guess it'd be piloting. Who is the highest piloting besides Nanat?
Probably her crew.
I'm not trained in it.
I'd roll it. This is something he would probably come up with. So go ahead and roll it. See if you can get it.
I have it.
And I'd say this would be a big roll.
Okay.
30-ish.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. I actually got a 20 on this.
Nice.
Nice.
I mean, it's like I'm rolling with a base 15 or base 12.
I don't have
So it's-
any qualms telling you guys this then. You think that if you were sitting somewhere in the system, like near the star, and they show up, you could just gun the engines for about 5 seconds and then cut them off and just coast, and you'll look like space debris. And so you can get up close and then turn on the dock or whatever you want to try and do real fast.
That's some Han Solo shit right there.
That's Battlestar Galactica.
That's some
Yeah,
Boba
yeah.
Fett shit right there.
That's Battlestar Galactica. They did that in the prime opening to get to Caprica to fly through all the Cylons.
It's also an Expanse thing since I've been reading those books. So yeah,
These are so good, aren't they?
I'm half like. Well, no, I just started the third book, but yeah.
Oh, I've only finished the first one, but I want to read the next one.
Yeah.
So that's the best way.
Super enjoying it. So
Once we coast up as space debris, are we going to bounce off there like deflectors and
No, but power it down. We shouldn't
if
be
they're all
those
docked,
sensors.
if they're all docked, they won't have anything up. Probably, more than likely. I mean, I don't think
yeah,
you'd
they
have
wouldn't be able
shields
to
up.
have shields up while you're like actually docked. Yeah, because you couldn't cut them out in certain areas to get like things through.
I don't want to nitpick, but like deflectors you always have on because there's shit flying around space all over the place.
One micrometeorite at 72.
Yeah, you're
Right, but I have a feeling that our ship is going to be a little too big to just deflect.
Yeah.
Well, my whole point here is, what's the next step of this plan? Are we going to try to dock as well and just boarding party this?
Ruurah is all for I have no idea what this is going to look like, so why don't we get there and see what's going on before we try to make the big plans? Like...
Everyone's talking, and Jad's just sitting in there in the corner with his eyes.
Right.
Right.
Dad is currently thinking is there's too many guys. This is going to be no fun. It's cramped hallways. I'm going to be stuck behind all these kids. I'm just not looking forward to this one at all.
Yeah, you're the only one experienced being a pirate and boarding ships and doing this sort of thing. So
Well, how's it done, Jad?
Everyone gets kind of quiet and they're all thinking, and they kind of look one by one. One person looks over, and I'm like, he used to be a pirate. And another person like slowly looks over.
He's still a damn pirate. He's just our pirate.
Yeah, so Jed knows from experience that having a huge boarding party, going through small hallways, it's going to be boring for him because only the people in the front are going to get the action. And
So lead and show them how it's done.
but then he says, "But I like to follow, so you guys do your thing." That's no leader. You don't want him to lead.
Depends on how it's set up. If there's two together, you can sort of dock and then spread out and take both ships quickly. I think that's part of the thing too, is to take the ships, right? Yeah. So it's up to you guys how you guys want to dock as quickly as possible and get as many people on the ships, cause chaos, capture them before they undock. That sort of thing.
Ideally, without a whole hell of a lot of loss of lives. I mean, drug runners are terrible people, but I don't want to just murder them unnecessarily.
Flash.
We
Take care of that.
Yeah. Okay. And then Chad says, "I got you."
Lash is like, you know what? They've chosen their path. If the Force decides that they're not worthy of life anymore, that's on them.
Well, consider that we are becoming a merry band of pirates for the week.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about how she's going to reconcile all that, but that's where she stands right now with her lessons she's had lately, and trusting the Force to decide the fate of those who are up to dastardly deeds. She's fine if they fall.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Lashara. Okay,
Right.
So.
Yep. Look, I've tried to work around this, but we do some bad shit sometimes, so she's gonna have to work shit out.
And it's one of those things. If they start surrendering, then you don't mow them all down. But
I say,
if they're still shooting at you,
right? Ruurah gives it one of those uncomfortable looks about. Yeah, I thought it was a given that we weren't going to kill anybody we didn't have to. Like,
we have
rats.
Dodd's like, we can't kill all of them. I wouldn't feel comfortable wiping everything out. And people are like, woo.
Well,
I don't have to do that.
We know
Just putting weapons away.
We know that Jedi aren't Buddhists. We have tons and tons of evidence of them killing innocent creatures, killing innocent. Well, I don't know innocent, but killing willy-nilly when the time calls for it. So yeah, it's all good.
All right. So I guess we are in hyperspace. We're headed there. Hakur's entertaining the kids. Jad is basically saying, "Yeah, man. How it's done is you grab an e-web and you walk down that hallway, and you hope none of your friends get in the way."
Or he could be setting up who's going in what direction. Like if there's 3 ships or there's 4 ships, then we dock with the main one, and this group takes that way, and this group takes that way. So
yeah. So I think that's. I'm this isn't Lash saying this, but we need a couple of patrols, of 5 people each with their own individual mission. Whether it's to get to the bridge, get to engineering, take out the people, whatever that is.
Right.
I think those are I think the 4 goals would be: get to the bridge, get to engineering, get the goods, and deal with the crew. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Well, I like it. Let's do that. Okay. So, Ruurah, can you divide your family? Are they family?
There's
do
some of them are
the same to you.
Hey, I'm trying really hard to be reasonable here.
They all came out of the same hatchery.
Yeah, there you go. So there's 25 of them. You can split them into 5 groups of 5 easily.
Okay. Strangely, there are 5 of us if you include Nanat.
That's weird.
So each of us could take a team, but then no one would be on the ship. So
except for
we have several droids and
You have an assassin droid.
Yeah, I saw this episode of Mandalorian.
So
What?
you were the one who got us a security droid, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that guy. He calls me boss man.
so he
Um,
Also, your math's a little off. If we include Nanat, there are 6 of us, which means Nanat and the droids can stay lookout on the Ripper.
Oh, I wasn't thinking I would go on the ship.
Yeah. Oh, you were planning on staying behind.
Yeah. Have you guys actually seen me hit anything with the blaster ever?
No, but there will be a
That
point.
actually pauses because
This might be your battle, Dodd. This might be your battle.
Okay.
But Doc, you know what you're really good at doing? Convincing people to put weapons down, which is also part of this fight.
Quick question: how much Bacta do we have?
Right. Exactly.
That is
We should have
true.
stocked up before we left. Anyway, okay, so now we've got it established. We've got 5 people. We can take 5 people on a team. We believe the intel suggests that there will be 2 ships,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And we
Roughly.
do not have the scanning capability to know which ship's going to have the stuff, right? So really, we're going to have one ship where we can send a crew to the bridge, one to the engineering, and one to the cargo bay, and the other one will just be the bridge and the engineering
I
department.
think Lash chimes in. She says, "Since we don't know where the goods are, my suggestion is we have 2 teams on one ship, 2 teams on another, and another in reserve, waiting on comms if things get hairy or if we find the goods."
Okay, that seems like an incredibly good plan.
yeah.
And Nanat chimes in and says we should head immediately to the bridge of each ship and secure it and then move out from there.
Yep.
Because no one's flying
Okay.
the ship. No one's disembarking. No one's undocking.
Yeah, we won't have to chase. Yeah, that makes sense. I would love to have control over engineering too, because all it would take is somebody with the right mindset, and they'll blow up the ship, right?
It's a Star Trek thing more than anything. I don't think anyone's
Okay.
blown up a ship in Star Wars that I know of as a weapon or as a way out.
Perhaps
It's happened once, but yeah, it's not a common thing.
Yeah.
maybe we should use our light speed engine to ram through the other ship. Anyway, okay.
Well, you know, ships actually cost money in Star
Right.
Wars. As opposed
Oh,
We're going to be
yeah.
on that ship, right? No. Yeah, we have to be on that
Yeah.
ship. Oh, no, that's not a good idea.
Okay.
I volunteer as tribute.
But we go into hyperspace, so we would actually go into another dimension before we. Yeah.
See what you did, Ryan Johnson.
Okay, so two crews go straight to the bridge.
And
So
then
why don't
once get
we?
that secured, we can separate.
And then
off.
we have a third crew that hangs out on the ship until we identify the target or we get into
or
trouble.
somebody needs help. Yeah.
Exactly.
I will volunteer to be the crew that stands back with whoever it is that you pick.
Grenade lobbers should stay back.
Yeah, because you never know when I'm going to throw a grenade at the wrong person.
Well, as long as you don't put one down somebody's pants, we're probably all right.
You know, that brings up something interesting. Perhaps we
You guys
have
and grenades have not had a good history. Period.
perhaps, yeah,
Maybe skipped
come to think of it.
the grenades for this time.
yeah.
Seriously, grenades are like freaking D&D fireball, man. You just leave it at home.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to be on which teams? Like which 2 groups will go together? I'm kind of thinking that a crew and Lashara can head up one group of 10, and then Jad and Ruurah can handle the other one. Or should we put 2 ex-pirates in charge of either teams?
The way you said makes sense because you don't want Hakru and I on the same ships because we're both good with mechanics, so we can be the teams that split off and head to engineering.
I like it. And then we also have it divided up: heavy gunner and close support too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that works.
okay, cool. So we've got a plan. Now we need to know how to get into these ships, but I think we'll discover that we will have a little bit of time as we're flying at sublight speed away from a sun towards these ships. So we'll hopefully be able to get some passive scans to see what kind of ships these are.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we can check the internet to find out a floor plan.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Nanot thinks
Can we?
you'll have plenty of time floating up on them to visually scan them
Yeah.
and to look up and have plenty of time, and then we can fire the thrusters at the last moment. Maybe when our radar shadows would intersect, hit the thrusters, and then just dock with them.
Gotcha.
So if they are actively scanning, they just see an asteroid, and then it stops. So
And standard procedure is that they dump the refuse before they jump to light speed. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
yeah,
capital ships. Yeah,
capital ships. Hopefully these are not capital ships. Maybe they will
You
be
don't think
hammerhead
so.
ships though. And if they are, Jad gets one.
If they're capital ships, abort.
Yeah. Two little pirate ships against the capital ships? No, probably not.
We're clever.
We're clever, but we're not Han and Luke.
Yet.
This has been a production of Gaming Without Gaming, all rights reserved. Visit us at gamingwithoutgaming.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/gamingwithoutgaming. Title music is by Greg Braun. Find him on soundcloud.com/Clara7. That's KLARA-7. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Gaming Without Gaming logo music is by Kevin MacLeod.